Have you ever noticed how one simple sentence can change the course of a day, a decision, or even a life? Imagine standing in a room where your words hold weight, where every phrase you speak has the power to inspire, to influence, to move someone in ways that leave a lasting mark. Most of us speak without thinking, letting our words drift like leaves in the wind, never realizing the impact they could have if chosen with intention. But what if you could change that? What if every word you spoke carried purpose, clarity, and power? The truth is, the ability to communicate effectively is not reserved for the naturally gifted or the endlessly educated. It is a skill, a craft, and a form of influence that anyone can master, starting today. And the reward for mastering it isn't just admiration or respect. It's something far deeper. It's the ability to shape how people feel, how they act, and even how they see the world. It's the chance to leave an imprint on minds and hearts simply through the words you choose. Every conversation you have, every email you send, every casual remark you make is an opportunity to build trust, to inspire courage, to spark curiosity. Yet, most of us waste this opportunity without realizing it. We mumble, we hesitate, we let fear or doubt dictate the way we communicate. And each time we do, we dilute our influence, we compromise our potential, we miss the chance to create real change. But that can stop today. The moment you decide to speak intentionally, to speak with awareness, everything shifts. You begin to notice the subtle ways words affect others, the spark of understanding, the sudden nod of agreement, the light of recognition in someone's eyes. These small moments are proof that your voice matters, that your presence matters, and that the way you choose to speak can become your most powerful tool in shaping your world. Think about the people you admire most, the leaders, the thinkers, the innovators. Their greatest strength isn't just knowledge or talent. It's their ability to communicate. They command attention not by shouting, not by forcing agreement, but by speaking with precision, conviction, and clarity. And the secret is not complicated. It's rooted in understanding that every word you speak can either elevate or diminish your influence. By becoming aware of this, by taking control of your language and your delivery, you tap into a hidden power that exists in everyone but is rarely exercised. This is why you must pay attention, why you must lean in and absorb every insight, every strategy, every principle that will follow. Because the transformation isn't abstract, it's immediate. With every technique you learn, every nuance you adopt, you will notice subtle shifts in how people respond to you. Doors will open more easily. Ideas will resonate more deeply. Confidence will ripple through your presence and draw others toward you. And most importantly, you will finally feel the weight of your own words. The satisfaction of knowing that when you speak, you are not just filling silence. You are shaping reality, inspiring action, and creating change at last. The journey to speaking smart starts here. And by the end of this, you will understand how to harness the psychology of communication to become not just heard, but truly understood, respected, and remembered. Every word you speak from this point forward can become your most powerful tool, your greatest advantage in your path to influence. The question is no longer whether you can speak smart. The question is whether you will. The moment you realize that every word you speak is a choice, you step into a new realm of possibility. Most people think that intelligence in communication is something you are born with, an innate gift that some have and others don't. But the truth is far more empowering. Your ability to speak with influence, to inspire, to persuade, and to be understood is not fixed. It grows with your mindset, with your belief in your own potential, and with the intentional practice you bring to every interaction. Every thought you entertain about your capacity to communicate either limits you or propels you forward. If you tell yourself you are not articulate, your words will reflect that. If you believe you can improve, you will find yourself speaking with clarity, confidence, and authority that surprises even you. Your mind is not just a tool for thought. It is the engine that powers every word, every pause, every inflection. And like any engine, it must be tuned, maintained, and driven with purpose. A growth mindset is the key that unlocks this potential. It allows you to embrace mistakes as lessons, hesitations as opportunities, and every challenge as a step closer to mastery. When you start believing that your communication can evolve, you no longer fear failure. You no longer shrink in conversations where others dominate. You step forward knowing that your voice matters, knowing that what you say carries weight, knowing that your perspective has value. The psychology behind this is simple, yet profound. The brain responds to belief as if it is reality. When you act as though you are capable of speaking with intelligence and precision, your neural pathways adapt, your confidence grows, and your words naturally align with your intentions. Each conversation becomes a laboratory where you experiment, refine, and reinforce your ability to communicate powerfully. Each interaction strengthens the muscle of expression, shaping not only how others perceive you, but how you perceive yourself. You become someone who speaks with authority not by trying harder, but by thinking smarter, by aligning mindset with action, by trusting that your voice can carry influence. This is where transformation begins. Every thought you hold about your ability to communicate directly translates into the impact you have on the world. Doubt clouds clarity, hesitation undermines influence, and fear silences potential. But belief, paired with deliberate effort, fuels a magnetic presence that draws attention, inspires trust, and fosters connection. You are no longer a passive participant in conversations. You are an active force shaping outcomes, guiding discussions, and leaving impressions that linger long after the words are spoken. The reward for cultivating this mindset is immediate and profound. You will notice the subtle shifts in the way people respond to you. They will lean in, listen closer, and engage more deeply. Opportunities that once felt out of reach will appear because your presence commands respect. And most importantly, you will feel it within yourself, a quiet but unshakable confidence, a sense of clarity and purpose that transforms how you move through every room, every meeting, every exchange. Your voice becomes more than a collection of words. It becomes a reflection of your inner strength, intelligence, and vision. Believing in your ability to speak smart is not optional. It is essential. It is the foundation upon which every skill, every technique, every strategy you will learn is built. Without this belief, mastery is impossible. With it, there is no limit. You are capable of growth, capable of influence, capable of speaking in a way that changes how others think, how they feel, and how they act. And when you truly internalize this, when you live it, your words will carry a power that cannot be ignored, a power that will shape not only your life, but the lives of everyone who hears you. If you truly want to speak with power, the first step is learning to listen, not just to respond, but to understand. Most people prepare their words while the other person is talking, missing the subtle signals, the emotions hidden behind sentences, the unspoken truths that give every conversation depth. But when you train yourself to listen fully, your words gain resonance. Listening creates space for clarity, for insight, for connection. It allows you to speak not from assumption, but from understanding. It transforms ordinary exchanges into moments where influence is natural, effortless, and magnetic. The human brain craves recognition. When someone feels truly heard, their guard drops, their respect grows, and their willingness to engage with your ideas rises. By becoming a master listener, you set the stage for every word you speak to land with impact. Active listening is more than hearing words. It's observing tone, noticing pauses, reading body language, and sensing emotional currents. Every subtle inflection, every hesitation, every sigh carries meaning. The smartest speakers don't just react, they absorb, process, and respond in ways that feel intentional, authentic, and deeply attuned. This skill gives you an edge in every interaction. You begin to anticipate thoughts before they are voiced, to navigate resistance with empathy rather than force, and to guide conversations without dominating them. You speak with influence because you have first created understanding, and influence without understanding is empty. When you commit to listening, you also learn patience, a rare, powerful trait in a world addicted to noise and speed. Patience allows your mind to digest information fully, to choose the most precise, compelling response rather than the first impulsive thought. It gives your words weight because every sentence emerges not from reaction, but from reflection. People sense this. They sense the calm, measured intelligence behind your voice. They respond not to volume, but to depth. And this is where true power lies. And the quiet authority comes from being present, from knowing that you are fully engaged, and that every word you speak is chosen with care. Listening also deepens empathy, the invisible bridge that connects minds and hearts. Empathy allows your communication to transcend surface-level exchange and touch the core of human experience. When you demonstrate that you understand someone's fears, hopes, and aspirations, your words become more than statements. They become catalysts for trust, respect, and alignment. And this is where psychology meets influence. Studies show that people are far more persuaded by those who make them feel understood. The smarter you're listening, the more effective your speaking becomes. The reward for cultivating this ability is immediate and profound. Conversations shift from routine exchanges to moments of impact. You find yourself influencing decisions, inspiring action, and building relationships with a depth and authenticity that was previously inaccessible. You become the person others seek out not just for information, but for perspective, guidance, and insight. And most importantly, you experience an inner transformation. Listening sharpens your mind, hones your awareness, and strengthens your emotional intelligence. You no longer feel trapped by misunderstandings, awkward pauses, or fear of judgment. Instead, you step into conversations with clarity, confidence, and control. To speak smart, you must first listen with intent, presence, and empathy. Every word you speak gains power when it is preceded by understanding. Every sentence becomes a tool for connection, influence, and transformation. And as you refine this skill, as you commit to hearing not just the words, but the person behind them, you will discover a truth that changes everything. The ability to speak powerfully begins with the courage to listen fully, openly, and without judgment. The world responds to those who listen before they speak, and those who master this receive the reward of influence, respect, and connection beyond measure. Once you understand the power of listening, the next step is learning how to speak in a way that naturally moves people, shapes thought, and inspires action. Influence is not about loudness or aggression. It is about understanding the psychology of the human mind and using language that resonates on a deeper level. Every word you choose carries energy, every phrase triggers a reaction, and every idea you express can either connect or divide. The most powerful communicators are those who understand how thoughts, emotions, and decisions are intertwined. They craft their words with intention, appealing not only to logic, but to feeling, to curiosity, to the inner desire for growth and understanding. This is where real transformation begins, when you see that your words are not just messages, but tools of influence, tools that can guide, inspire, and awaken potential in yourself and others. There are specific psychological triggers embedded in the way people think, and smart speakers use them to communicate more effectively. Social proof, for example, taps into the brain's natural desire to follow patterns that are recognized and trusted. Scarcity creates urgency, compelling action, because the mind reacts to potential loss more strongly than potential gain. Reciprocity fosters trust and connection, motivating people to respond when they feel valued. When you learn to integrate these triggers authentically into your speech, every conversation becomes an opportunity to create understanding, alignment, and engagement. The key is authenticity. Psychological principles are powerful only when they are grounded in truth. When your words reflect integrity and purpose. Influence also comes from clarity. Complexity breeds confusion, and confusion undermines authority. The human brain craves simplicity and coherence. When your ideas are clear, concise, and well-structured, they are not only easier to understand, but harder to resist. People are drawn to clarity because it signals confidence, competence, and focus. When you speak with precision, you command attention effortlessly. Your words become magnets, pulling others into your thought process and allowing them to follow your vision without resistance or doubt. This clarity is not just functional, it is transformative. It shapes perception, creates trust, and establishes you as someone whose words carry meaning. Emotion is equally critical. People rarely act purely on logic. They act on feeling first and justify with thought second. Tone, pacing, and the emotional weight behind your words determine how deeply your message lands. When you speak with genuine conviction, when your words echo the truth you hold inside, people feel it. They are drawn to the energy you emit, inspired to align with it, and motivated to act because it resonates with something fundamental within them. Emotional resonance transforms communication from mere information into connection, from passive listening into active engagement. Mastering persuasive speech is not about manipulation, it is about alignment. It is about crafting your words so that they match the truth of your intention and the needs of your audience. When you do this, your voice carries authority, your presence radiates confidence, and your influence becomes undeniable. Every conversation is an opportunity to inspire action, to build trust, and to create change. And when you begin to speak with this level of awareness, every interaction leaves a mark, not just on others, but on yourself. You step into a new reality where your words are tools of transformation, where your voice becomes a force for influence, and where the act of speaking becomes an expression of your power, your purpose, and your potential. Clarity is more than a skill. It is the backbone of influence, the silent force that allows your words to cut through noise and reach the minds and hearts of those who listen. Without clarity, even the most profound ideas lose their power, fading into confusion and forgetfulness. The human mind is wired to resist complexity, to avoid effortful processing. When your communication is muddled, your audience unconsciously disengages, distracted by the effort it takes to follow you. But when you speak with precision, every sentence becomes a bridge rather than a barrier. Clarity signals confidence. It tells your listeners that you have thought deeply, that your ideas are structured, and that your voice deserves attention. It is magnetic, drawing people toward your perspective, compelling them to understand and engage. The essence of clear communication lies in simplicity. Long-winded explanations, jargon, and convoluted reasoning dilute authority and scatter attention. To speak smart, you must distill complex thoughts into their purest form without sacrificing depth. This requires rigorous mental discipline, an ability to identify the core message within every idea, and the courage to remove anything that does not serve it. Each word must earn its place. Each pause must have purpose. When you achieve this, your words are no longer just sounds. They become instruments of influence, precision-guided, and purposeful, shaping perception with every phrase. Clarity also demands alignment between thought and expression. People sense hesitation, contradictions, and uncertainty immediately. When your internal understanding is strong, when your ideas are coherent in your mind, your words flow naturally and persuasively. This alignment between intention and delivery creates trust. It allows your audience to follow your ideas without resistance, to absorb your message fully, and to act upon it with conviction. The psychological impact is profound. Clarity reduces mental friction, engages attention effortlessly, and strengthens your authority in ways that forceful or dramatic speech never can. But clarity is not cold or mechanical. It must be infused with energy and emotional resonance to truly inspire. Precise language paired with emotional undertones creates a rhythm that feels both intelligent and alive. It connects ideas to feelings, logic to motivation, thought to action. When people grasp your ideas easily, when they feel the intention and passion behind them, your communication becomes not just understood, but remembered. Your words linger in minds, shaping decisions and inspiring transformation long after the conversation ends. The reward for mastering clarity is immediate and undeniable. You gain control over how your ideas are perceived, how your presence is experienced, and how your influence spreads. You no longer compete with confusion or misinterpretation. Instead, your words command attention, focus minds, and evoke response. Every statement becomes a tool to guide thought, to build trust, and to create momentum. And within yourself, clarity breeds confidence. You speak with conviction because your mind is sharp, your intentions are clear, and your communication carries weight. When you commit to speaking with clarity, you step into a higher plane of communication. Your ideas are no longer diluted by hesitation or complexity. Every word resonates, every sentence carries purpose, and every conversation becomes an opportunity to influence, inspire, and transform. Clarity is not merely a technique. It is the foundation of intelligence in speech, the invisible force that ensures your voice is heard, your vision is understood, and your presence is felt. Through clarity, your words become more than communication. They become power in motion, shaping reality, guiding thought, and igniting action in ways that will forever change the way you and others experience the world. Logic without emotion is powerless. Facts alone rarely move people. Feelings are the current that carries ideas into action. Every word you speak has the potential to evoke emotion, to stir thought, to awaken desire or courage. When you align your words with genuine feeling, you transform ordinary communication into a force that resonates deep within the human psyche. Your voice becomes more than a channel for ideas. It becomes an instrument of influence, able to touch hearts as well as minds. People don't just respond to what you say. They respond to how you make them feel. Understanding this is not optional for those who wish to speak with impact. It is essential. Emotion in communication is not about exaggeration or theatrics. It is about authenticity. When your voice carries conviction, warmth, curiosity, or passion, listeners instinctively connect to your message. Neuroscience proves that humans are wired to mirror emotional cues. When you speak with genuine intensity, it triggers responses in your audience that align with your intention. Tone, pacing, emphasis, and the subtle rhythms of speech all combine to convey meaning beyond words. A simple statement delivered with sincerity can inspire more than a lengthy lecture devoid of emotional resonance. The smartest communicators understand this, and they use it to create connection, trust, and influence that feels effortless yet profound. Emotional resonance also bridges gaps in understanding. People may not grasp every detail of your argument, but they feel the energy behind it. This feeling motivates attention, engagement, and action. It is the invisible glue that binds ideas to response. When you speak with clarity and intelligence, but also with feeling, your message becomes memorable. It sticks because it is not just processed cognitively, it is absorbed through emotion. Every pause, every inflection, every deliberate emphasis carries weight, embedding your words in the memory and shaping the way people perceive your authority, credibility, and vision. Harnessing emotion in speech requires courage. The courage to be vulnerable, to express conviction without fear of judgment, and to speak truthfully even when it challenges comfort. People sense hesitation and inconsistency, and it erodes trust instantly. By embracing the emotional pulse of communication, you signal authenticity. You demonstrate that you are present, engaged, and invested not just in your ideas, but in the experience of those who hear them. This authenticity creates an invisible bond, a psychological resonance that compels attention and fosters respect. The reward for mastering emotional depth is transformative. Conversations become charged with presence. Ideas are no longer just conveyed, they are felt. Influence becomes natural, and persuasion becomes aligned with integrity. Every interaction leaves an imprint, not because you forced it, but because you spoke with feeling, clarity, and intelligence combined. Within yourself, this mastery creates confidence and empowerment. You stop speaking timidly or mechanically. You begin to inhabit every word, projecting not only intellect, but energy, empathy, and authority. When your communication carries emotional weight, it transforms the ordinary into extraordinary. It gives your ideas momentum and your voice gravity. You become someone who is not only heard but felt. The psychological impact of this skill cannot be overstated. It strengthens connection, inspires trust, and motivates action. Speaking with emotional resonance is no longer optional. It is the vehicle through which your words become catalysts for change, influence, and growth. When mastered, it ensures that every conversation, every statement, and every expression of thought becomes an opportunity to shape perception, inspire courage, and leave a lasting impact on the world around you. The words you choose are your instruments, and the more vivid and precise they are, the stronger your influence becomes. Vocabulary is not about showing off intelligence, it is about creating impact, clarity, and resonance. Every word carries a weight, a subtle emotional charge that shapes how people perceive your message and, more importantly, how they respond to it. Metaphors, analogies, and carefully selected language allow ideas to leap from the abstract into tangible understanding. They give people a mental image, a feeling, a bridge from concept to comprehension. The smarter you speak, the more your words linger in memory, echoing long after the conversation ends. The psychology behind word choice is profound. Research shows that language shapes perception. When you frame ideas using precise, evocative, and relatable terms, you guide the mind to understand not only what you mean, but why it matters. The brain is drawn to patterns, images, and concepts it can visualize. By speaking in ways that create mental pictures, you engage more than intellect. You engage imagination and emotion, tapping into the mechanisms that drive attention, retention, and persuasion. Every word you speak becomes a key, unlocking understanding and aligning thought with your intent. But vocabulary alone is not enough. It must be wielded with intention and authenticity. Words that feel forced or disconnected from your truth are transparent. They erode trust, confuse listeners, and diminish influence. The most powerful communicators select words that match their conviction, words that reflect clarity of thought and depth of feeling. This alignment between language and intention transforms ordinary senses into instruments of connection and influence. When your words reflect who you are and what you believe, they carry energy that draws others in and makes your ideas undeniable. Using language effectively also requires rhythm, emphasis, and timing. The same word can inspire or fall flat, depending on how it is delivered. Pauses give weight to ideas, repetition reinforces memory, and deliberate pacing allows listeners to absorb and process your message. Words become more than text. They become a cadence, a pulse, a force that moves minds and evokes response. This combination of choice and delivery amplifies your presence and authority, ensuring that what you say is not only heard, but felt and remembered. The reward of mastering vocabulary is immediate and transformative. Every idea you express becomes sharper, more compelling, and more persuasive. You gain the ability to articulate complex concepts simply, to capture attention instantly, and to evoke thought, emotion, and action with precision. People will naturally lean into your words, drawn by the clarity, insight, and resonance embedded in every phrase. Within yourself, the mastery of language builds confidence. You speak with intention because every word has purpose, every sentence carries meaning, and every idea connects with impact. When your words are chosen deliberately, when they are vivid, precise, and aligned with your intention, your communication transforms. You no longer risk being misunderstood, ignored, or forgotten. Instead, you become someone whose voice commands attention, whose ideas spark reflection, and whose presence inspires trust and action. Vocabulary becomes more than a collection of words. It becomes power, a tool for shaping thought, guiding perception, and creating influence. Every word you speak from this point forward can become a seed of transformation, planting ideas, emotions, and possibilities that will grow long after the conversation ends. Every word you speak carries weight, but how you deliver those words determines whether they resonate or fade into background noise. Timing, pacing, and brevity are the invisible forces that shape perception and command attention. The human mind has a limited capacity to process information. And when sentences drag on or ideas are cluttered, focus slips, engagement wanes, and influence is lost. Speaking smart means knowing when to pause, when to emphasize, and when to stop. The spaces between words are as powerful as the words themselves. They create tension, anticipation, and impact. Mastering this rhythm allows your audience to not just hear your ideas, but to feel them, to absorb them fully, and to act on them. Brevity is not about speaking less. It is about speaking with precision. Every word must earn its place. Superfluous language dilutes authority and weakens influence. When you strip your message to its essence, clarity emerges and the brain responds. People are drawn to speech that is concise, intentional, and purposeful because it signals confidence and mastery. It demonstrates that you understand your subject, value the listener's attention, and can convey meaning without unnecessary complication. The smartest speakers know that the most powerful statements are often the simplest, delivered with intention and conviction. Timing amplifies every word you speak. The pause before a key idea, the slight hesitation that signals importance, the cadence that emphasizes emotion. These are not accidents, they are deliberate too. Neuroscience shows that the brain responds to patterns and moments of silence heighten attention, creating anticipation and allowing your message to sink deeper. When used skillfully, timing transforms ordinary speech into a performance of influence, capturing attention effortlessly and imprinting ideas into memory. The careful interplay of words and silence creates a dynamic flow, one that pulls listeners in, guiding them to understand, to feel, and to act. Pacing is equally vital. Rapid, relentless speech overwhelms the mind, leaving the audience disconnected, anxious, or disengaged. Slow, measured delivery conveys confidence, control, and authority. It allows each idea to land, each emotion to register, and each listener to process fully. When you master pacing, your words carry weight, your ideas gain traction, and your influence expands. You speak not only to inform, but to shape perception, to guide thought, and to inspire action. Every syllable becomes intentional, every pause deliberate, every statement impactful. The reward of mastering brevity, timing, and pacing is immediate and transformative. Conversations become sharper, more engaging, and more persuasive. Your words command attention effortlessly, creating focus, respect, and trust. You no longer risk being ignored or misunderstood. Instead, you speak with authority, presence, and clarity that draws others in and compels them to respond. Within yourself, this mastery cultivates confidence, reinforcing the belief that your voice has power and your ideas deserve attention. When brevity, timing, and pacing are combined with clarity, emotional resonance, and deliberate vocabulary, your speech becomes a force. It moves people, shapes perception, and inspires action. You no longer speak merely to communicate. You speak to influence, to lead, and to transform. Every pause, every word, every carefully timed inflection becomes a tool, a weapon of impact, a channel through which your thoughts, feelings, and vision reach others with precision and power. Your voice evolves into a force of nature, commanding attention, shaping minds, and leaving a lasting mark on everyone who listens. Confidence is not something that can be faked. It is cultivated through alignment between mind, body, and voice. Every word you speak carries the energy of your belief in yourself. When you speak with genuine confidence, it signals to others that your ideas are worthy of attention, that your presence commands respect, and that your perspective carries authority. Confidence is the invisible force that amplifies every element of communication: clarity, emotional resonance, timing, vocabulary. Without it, even the most carefully crafted words can fall flat. With it, even simple statements can move mountains. The psychology behind confident speech is rooted in perception. Humans respond instinctively to cues of assurance. Posture, tone, and pace all communicate confidence before the words themselves are processed. Stand tall in your mind, project certainty in your tone, and speak with deliberate intention. Your audience does not need to know the details of your preparation. They feel the assurance behind every word. Confidence creates a feedback loop. As you perceive yourself as competent and credible, your mind sharpens, your emotions stabilize, and your words flow with precision and strength. The more you embody this state, the more naturally it manifests in every interaction. Confidence also requires courage, the courage to speak even when doubt whispers, to express ideas even when others may disagree, to take up space without apology. It is the inner conviction that your thoughts, insights, and observations matter. This courage transforms fear into focus, hesitation into action, and silence into influence. Every time you speak from this place of confidence, you reinforce it within yourself. The mind begins to accept it as reality, shaping behavior, posture, and expression. Confidence becomes not just a technique, but a habit, a permanent lens through which you engage the world. Beyond perception, confidence deepens trust and amplifies influence. People naturally gravitate toward those who project certainty because it signals competence, stability, and reliability. When combined with clarity, emotional resonance, precise vocabulary, and intentional timing, confident speech becomes irresistible. Your audience listens not merely to the content of your words, but to the authority with which they are delivered. Every idea is elevated, every argument strengthened, and every interaction transformed into an opportunity to inspire, persuade, and lead. The reward for cultivating confidence in speech is profound. Conversations that once left you hesitant or unsure become arenas of impact and influence. Your ideas are received with attention and respect. You command rooms, discussions, and interactions without force or aggression because your confidence carries its own weight. Within yourself, this confidence fosters resilience, self-belief, and a sense of empowerment that extends far beyond communication. You no longer question whether your voice matters. You know it does, and you act accordingly. When you embody confidence, every element of communication, clarity, emotion, vocabulary, pacing, and timing is magnified. Your words become more persuasive, your presence more compelling, and your influence more enduring. You speak not only to convey information, but to inspire belief, to ignite action, and to leave a lasting impression. Confidence is not optional. It is the foundation that allows every other skill to shine. With it, your voice becomes unstoppable, your message undeniable, and your power to influence the world undeniable. True mastery of communication requires more than clarity, emotion, and confidence. It demands awareness of the people around you, the room you occupy, and the energy you bring. Reading the room is a skill that separates ordinary speakers from those who command influence effortlessly. It is the ability to sense unspoken thoughts, to detect hesitation, excitement, doubt, or curiosity, and to adjust your words, tone, and presence to meet the moment. The most powerful communicators are not rigid, they are adaptable. They shape their delivery to align with the audience's state of mind, guiding understanding and engagement without forcing it. This awareness turns conversations into collaborations, resistance into alignment, and dialogue into transformation. The psychology behind this skill is rooted in social intelligence. Humans respond not only to words, but to subtle cues, micro-expressions, posture, gestures, and tone. When you become attuned to these signals, you gain insight into how your message is being received and can adjust in real time to maximize impact. This is not manipulation. It is empathy in action. It demonstrates that you are present, engaged, and responsive. It allows you to speak in a way that resonates deeply, to create alignment between thought, emotion, and intention, and to ensure that your message lands with clarity and force. Awareness also strengthens emotional connection. By sensing the energy in a room, you can amplify engagement, address resistance before it solidifies, and guide the emotional tone of the conversation. People instinctively trust those who can understand them, anticipate their needs, and respond thoughtfully. Every adjustment you make in real time communicates competence, attentiveness, and care. Your audience feels seen, understood, and guided, and this feeling creates a bond that amplifies the power of your words. Influence grows naturally when people feel that you are attuned to them, and they are far more likely to accept, internalize, and act on your ideas. The act of reading the room requires focus and presence. It demands that you silence internal distractions, shed self-consciousness, and tune fully into the moment. Every glance, gesture, and shift in posture becomes information. Every pause, sigh, or subtle expression is a signal. By interpreting these cues accurately, you navigate conversations with finesse and authority. You speak with awareness, timing, and intention, ensuring that your message is not only heard, but absorbed, felt, and acted upon. The reward of mastering this skill is profound. Interactions that once felt uncertain or unpredictable become opportunities for influence and connection. You gain the ability to guide conversations effortlessly, to anticipate reactions, and to create alignment between your ideas and the minds of those listening. Within yourself, this awareness cultivates confidence, adaptability, and emotional intelligence. You no longer rely solely on preparation or content. You move fluidly, respond intelligently, and shape outcomes with precision. When you learn to read the room, every other element of communication, clarity, emotional resonance, confidence, vocabulary, timing, gains exponential power. Your words land more effectively, your presence becomes magnetic, and your influence becomes unavoidable. You become someone whose voice carries not only authority, but insight, empathy, and adaptability. Every interaction transforms into an opportunity to inspire action, foster trust, and leave a lasting impact. Awareness of the moment turns ordinary speech into extraordinary influence, ensuring that everything you say resonates with precision, power, and purpose. The questions you ask can be more powerful than the statements you make. Thoughtfully crafted questions shift the focus from telling to guiding, from asserting to inviting, from speaking to someone to engaging with them. Every well-placed question activates the mind, sparks curiosity, and encourages reflection. When you ask with intention, you create a space where others feel heard, valued, and involved. Questions are not just tools for gathering information, they are instruments of influence, capable of directing thought, eliciting insight, and inspiring action without ever raising your voice. The ability to ask the right question at the right moment separates passive communicators from those who leave lasting impact. The psychology behind questions is profound. Humans are wired to respond to inquiry. Questions trigger internal dialogue, create engagement, and encourage problem solving. An open-ended question invites exploration, giving the listener ownership of the thought process. Closed questions guide focus, channeling attention towards specific insights or conclusions. When used strategically, questions turn passive listeners into active participants, deepening understanding, strengthening connection, and enhancing your influence. People feel empowered when they are invited to think, reflect, and articulate, and this sense of involvement increases trust and receptivity to your ideas. Questions also demonstrate empathy and intelligence. They show that you are listening, that you are attuned to the needs, concerns, and perspectives of others. Every thoughtful question communicates curiosity, respect, and insight. It signals that your goal is not only to speak, but to understand, to explore, and to create alignment. This subtle psychological cue builds rapport and establishes credibility, making your audience more open to the ideas you later present. Influence becomes not about persuasion through force, but about guiding through understanding, about shaping thought by illuminating possibilities that the listener discovers themselves. The skill of questioning requires precision and awareness. Every question must serve a purpose, whether to clarify, challenge, inspire, or provoke thought. Ill-considered questions create confusion or resistance, undermining authority and disrupting flow. By choosing your questions deliberately, by aligning them with your intention and the needs of your audience, you elevate dialogue into an active process of engagement and transformation. Questions give your words weight, create momentum in conversations, and shape the emotional and cognitive landscape of every interaction. The reward of mastering the art of questioning is profound. Conversations become more dynamic, collaborative, and impactful. Your ideas are received not only with attention, but with active participation, making them more memorable and persuasive. You gain the ability to lead dialogue without dominating it, to inspire reflection without imposing direction, and to guide thought without dictating it. Within yourself, this skill cultivates adaptability, patience, and insight, reinforcing your capacity to influence, connect, and lead. When you combine the strategic use of questions with clarity, emotional resonance, confidence, vocabulary, timing, and awareness, your communication reaches a level of sophistication and effectiveness few achieve. Questions become catalysts for action, mirrors of thought, and bridges to understanding. They allow you to guide others toward insight, reflection, and decision naturally, gracefully, and powerfully. Every question you ask shapes perception, fosters connection, and amplifies your influence, ensuring that your voice is not only heard, but deeply felt and remembered. Stories are the vessels through which ideas become unforgettable, the threads that connect logic and emotion, and the bridges that carry understanding into action. Humans are wired to respond to narratives. Our brains light up when we process a story, engaging emotion, memory, and imagination simultaneously. Every word you speak can be transformed into a story, every concept into a journey, every lesson into a lived experience that resonates deeply with your audience. The most influential communicators do not merely convey information. They craft experiences with their words, inviting others to see, feel, and understand in ways that transcend the ordinary. The psychology of storytelling is powerful. Stories activate multiple regions of the brain, making concepts memorable, relatable, and persuasive. When you frame ideas within a narrative, listeners visualize the scenario, feel the emotion, and simulate the experience internally. This creates connection, empathy, and engagement. People are far more likely to remember a point, embrace an idea, or take action when it is embedded in a story rather than presented as a list of facts. By mastering storytelling, you transform passive attention into active investment, turning listeners into participants in the journey you lead. Effective storytelling requires alignment between authenticity and intention. A story loses its power when it feels forced or disconnected from truth. The most compelling narratives arise from genuine experience, conviction, and insight. Every detail, every image, every phrase must serve the purpose of illuminating your message, reinforcing your ideas, and evoking the desired response. Stories give voice to your intelligence and emotion simultaneously, creating a resonance that logic alone cannot achieve. They allow your audience to see themselves within your words, to feel your vision, and to act upon it with clarity and motivation. The structure of a story also matters. Context frames understanding, challenge engages attention, and transformation inspires action. By guiding listeners through this art, you create momentum, tension, and resolution that mirrors the natural flow of thought and emotion. Your words become a vehicle for impact, leading people from curiosity to insight, from hesitation to conviction, from observation to engagement. Every pause, every emphasis, every carefully chosen word within the story reinforces its power and ensures it is remembered long after it is told. The reward for mastering storytelling is profound. Your ideas gain depth, your influence expands, and your presence becomes magnetic. People are drawn to your words not only because they are clear or confident, but because they are alive, textured, and meaningful. Conversations transform from exchanges of information into experiences that inspire thought, evoke feeling, and motivate action. Within yourself, storytelling cultivates creativity, empathy, and strategic thinking, allowing you to convey complex concepts with simplicity, passion, and precision. When storytelling is combined with clarity, emotion, confidence, vocabulary, timing, awareness, and strategic questioning, your communication achieves a level of mastery few possess. Every message becomes more than words. It becomes a journey, a lesson, a spark that ignites understanding and action. Your voice carries not just ideas, but transformation. Your presence commands attention not just through authority, but through resonance. And every story you tell leaves an imprint, ensuring that your words influence, inspire, and endure far beyond the moment they are spoken. Body language speaks louder than words. Every gesture, posture, and movement communicates before a single syllable is uttered. Humans are wired to respond instinctively to nonverbal cues, often perceiving confidence, credibility, and authority before processing the words themselves. Your presence, the way you carry yourself, the energy you project, all shape how your message is received. When your body aligns with your words, your communication becomes seamless, compelling, and powerful. Misalignment, on the other hand, creates doubt, reduces influence, and undermines the impact of even the clearest or most brilliant ideas. The psychology behind body language is profound. Mirror neurons in the brain cause people to unconsciously mimic the gestures, expressions, and posture of those around them. When you project confidence, openness, and engagement, others reflect these behaviors, making them more receptive to your message. Subtle cues, a steady gaze, a purposeful gesture, a grounded stance, signal authority and authenticity, enhancing the perception of intelligence, clarity, and emotional control. Every movement can reinforce your words, strengthen connection, and create trust, turning ordinary speech into a full spectrum experience of influence. Awareness of your body language requires mindfulness and intentionality. It is not about exaggeration or theatrical display. It is about aligning your physical presence with your internal state and the message you intend to convey. Standing tall communicates strength. Open gestures communicate honesty. Controlled pacing signals composure. A calm, deliberate tone paired with confident posture amplifies the psychological impact of your words. When every element of your expression supports your communication, your voice becomes more than a tool. It becomes a force that shapes perception, inspires action, and commands attention. Body language also deepens emotional resonance. Subtle movements, expressions, and gestures create connection on a level that words alone cannot reach. A nod reinforces understanding, a smile fosters warmth, and a pause with eye contact conveys attentiveness and presence. When your nonverbal signals match the emotion behind your words, listeners feel authenticity. They sense that you are fully engaged, that your ideas are genuine, and that your intention is aligned with your expression. This alignment strengthens, influence, fosters trust, and makes your communication unforgettable. The reward for mastering body language is immediate and transformative. Conversations that once felt one-dimensional become multidimensional experiences of connection and persuasion. People respond to you not just intellectually, but emotionally and viscerally. Your words gain gravity, your presence gains magnetism, and your influence expands without requiring force or aggression. Within yourself, this mastery cultivates confidence, composure, and self-awareness. You no longer rely solely on content to make an impact. Your presence amplifies your message naturally and powerfully. When body language is combined with clarity, emotion, confidence, vocabulary, timing, awareness, strategic questioning, and storytelling, your communication becomes unstoppable. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to influence, inspire, and transform. Your words are strengthened by presence. Your ideas are reinforced by posture, gestures, and expression. And every moment you engage becomes a chance to leave an imprint on minds, on hearts, and on the world around you. Mastering the unspoken dimension of communication ensures that your influence extends beyond words, making every exchange a powerful testament to your intelligence, emotional resonance, and unwavering presence. Every pause you take is a tool of power. Silence is often underestimated, yet it is one of the most potent elements of communication. A well-timed pause allows your words to resonate, gives your audience space to process, and creates anticipation that draws attention. The human brain instinctively seeks patterns and waits for resolution. When you pause deliberately, you harness this natural tendency, giving weight to your message and commanding focus without raising your voice. Silence is not emptiness. It is a space where influence is amplified, understanding deepens, and action is invited. The psychology behind pauses is compelling. When a speaker pauses at the right moment, it triggers the listener's mind to engage, to fill in gaps, to reflect, and to internalize meaning. Pauses create tension and expectation, compelling attention in a way that rapid, unbroken speech cannot achieve. They allow your words to land fully, ensuring that key points are absorbed rather than glossed over. A pause before a critical idea signals importance. A pause after a powerful statement allows it to settle in the listener's mind. Strategic silence transforms ordinary speech into a commanding presence that is felt as much as it is heard. Pausing also reinforces confidence. People who rush their words often reveal uncertainty or lack of preparation. When you pause deliberately, it signals control, composure, and mastery. It communicates that you are not desperate to fill space, that you trust your ideas, and that you are fully present in the moment. Listeners perceive this immediately. They respond to the calm authority it conveys, engaging with your message on a deeper level and respecting your perspective without needing to be persuaded aggressively. Silence amplifies emotional resonance. In moments of pause, the brain processes not only logic, but feeling. Your audience feels the weight of your words, senses the intention behind them, and experiences the emotional energy you project. Pauses give emotion room to breathe, allowing listeners to connect with the essence of your message. They heighten the impact of subsequent words, creating a rhythm that makes your communication memorable, persuasive, and compelling. Every pause is an opportunity to make your ideas stick, to deepen connection, and to guide action. The reward for mastering the art of the pause is immediate and transformative. Conversations that once felt rushed, chaotic, or superficial become deliberate, engaging, and impactful. Your words carry more weight, your presence commands attention, and your influence expands effortlessly. Within yourself, this mastery cultivates patience, focus, and self-assurance. You speak not just to fill space, but to create meaning, to inspire reflection, and to provoke thought and action with precision. When pauses are integrated with clarity, emotion, confidence, vocabulary, timing, awareness, strategic questioning, storytelling, and body language, your communication reaches unparalleled depth and power. Every word lands with impact, every silence carries intention, and every interaction becomes a vehicle for influence, inspiration, and transformation. The mastery of pause ensures that your message is not only heard but absorbed, not only understood but felt, and not only received but acted upon. Your voice becomes a force that shapes minds, moves hearts, and leaves a lasting imprint on every person you reach.